always searching, that's, part of the
That's
job.
the job.
So there's some things that they may not have necessarily corrected, but because you guys did such a good job, they got to show that they know their stuff, so they added some stuff.
Oh, I don't know about that, but seriously, when you look over your proposal, there are probably corrections that you may disagree with, that we may disagree with as your instructors. So if you can support your thinking, rationalize, or justify any corrections, then let's talk, most definitely, because they are by the book. And remember, the book
I'm sorry.
that they follow is this one, but more importantly, also this one. And so this one, as we know, supersedes. So there might be a bit of confusion, and we may have told you something a little bit different, and especially on one area. Mario, hi. Good to see you. There you go. You made it. I know, we're going to be squished in here because there's another class today. So,
We sent you your proposal electronically, so
We
we're handing
did
it out to
not.
you. Oh,
we did, I have not had time.
Okay.
But I'll do it tonight. Yes, I gave him a hard copy.
yeah, and I want these back for me when you're done.
Right, but we wanted hard copies so that each of you could refer to it, and we'll talk about it. We'll separate at the end of class to talk about any questions that you may have. So as you're kind of thumbing through it, maybe circle or make a quick note, post-it note, and we'll talk about it. But we're all back together, and we're all congratulating each other. You will all be, whether you're ready or not, ready to go into EDUC 635 for your final semester at Sierra Nevada College to finish the program and to write your professional project for your Master of Arts in Teaching degree, which is very exciting. We're very, very proud of you. And we're looking forward. I have told my project directors, who are kind of maxed as I am right now, because next week our students start their defense of their professional project, and everyone is beyond stressed, and you'll understand that next year. And so I will, I've spoken with my project directors and said, what a great class you are, so you can't let us down. How impressive, how impressive. But before we start, it's the first time we've gotten back together, and seems like it was the winter from forever that kept going and kept going. But I have a couple things I want to say. First of all, to Beth Bouchard, our department chair, who just, I don't know how she keeps everything copacetic and running. Right. We need to, trust me, at the end of the semester. You'll know in the fall. You'll understand completely. But I also want to thank my husband, Jim.
I know.
He has been, yay, Jim. We have to put you in front of the camera so everyone can see you. Yes. That is.
Other duties as a son.
I know.
Used to that from my career.
Yeah, I know, exactly, for sure. He was in education for almost 40 years, so yes, most definitely. I so appreciate you, truly, especially filming every class that we've had up in Tahoe, 635 and 628 and down here. Very helpful. I'll be sending out the link tomorrow. What's today? Thursday, yes. Forrest, as always, our IT guy, will upload it to YouTube. I'll be sending it out to you. And even though you're here, you may miss something. So keep it as a reference, something to reference. It's very important what we're going to discuss tonight and going forward into the fall. So with that,
Wait,
yes.
we also have to, Cheryl.
Oh,
She's the director of Phase 2, and I couldn't even I wouldn't even get an hour's sleep for her. So she really,
We don't get sleep because we're texting late at
we're
night.
like 2 or 3 in the morning, but
Exactly.
I really appreciate all that you've done, because really she pulls all this together, and this time we had Incline and Reno, which makes it be a lot easier for Cheryl if we were all up at Incline. So, thank you.
Thank you. It's exciting, and thank you all. So let's reintroduce ourselves very quickly because it's the first time now we're back together. And it's the last time until the next class, which I will give you the dates for the fall, our first class meeting will be September 4th. That's when we'll be back together. It will be an incline. No whining. There's only 4 classes. It's the fall. And you should have seen my Tahoe people. They were amazing. It dumped snow, but like the postman, they were there. So only 4 classes. If it's really bad, class will be canceled. So please know that, because your personal safety is obviously of the utmost concern to all of us, to our department. It will be 5 to 7. It will be Wednesdays. Now, they'll all be on Wednesdays in incline. TCES 215, which my Tahoe people know because it's the classroom that we've had class in this whole semester. It is upstairs, and I'll give you directions. When you travel, some of you, as you're coming up 28 or coming up and over Mount Rose, you'll go on to Country Club Drive, which is the first signal in incline. If you're coming up from Carson or South Shore, you will turn left onto Country Club Drive. As you're coming down Mount Rose, just go straight through the signal. It's the 3rd driveway is the parking lot. You turn right, and as you travel into TCES 215, that's the Tahoe Center for Environmental Studies, and the library's on your right, and TCS is on your left. You'll just follow the path to your left. When you get into the building, you'll see the Jean LeConte, the research vessel, which Jim was fortunate enough to go on. Anton, have you been on that ship?
No,
I would think you have
Right.
status. And you could...
we got our own.
Oh, that's right. In fact, I was coming home from an appointment this morning in Carson, and I'm bird walking really quickly, and the firefighters were at the top of Spooner getting 2 jet skis. It looks so cute behind the red fire truck, you know? They were pulling 2 jet skis anyway, getting them checked.
The whole existence is about being cute.
I know, it was cute. Anyway, it matched. It was very matchy-matchy. Anyway, to get back to the point, upstairs, TCS 215, as you go up the stairs, top of the stairs, make a U-turn, and we're in the corner, in the back corner, 215. First class is September 4th.
And FYI, since it's only 4 sessions, if the weather happens to be treacherous, which shouldn't happen, it usually is
Shouldn't,
spring.
but it's Tahoe, you never know.
And you don't have a vehicle or chains, you need to make friends with someone
Yes.
in the class that does, so you can carpool. If you have any kind of issue with that, you need to speak with me about it, because these classes are, and you'll find out,
They're mandatory,
Yeah.
and you will miss a lot if you do miss these 4 classes. 9/4, 9/18. So we meet the first week of the school year, the semester, the fall semester. Then we take 2 weeks, we meet again. Then we will meet again on October 9th. And then we will meet again on October 30th. And that is the last mandatory class meeting. With that, technical review is very similar to proposal review, except your project goes to the same professional editor, so they're familiar with your topic and your direction. Your project goes to what we call technical review, and that takes quite a bit longer, but it's about, I haven't confirmed these dates with Beth as yet, or they have not been approved by the department, but about November 7th to about November 21st. So we're trying to beat the Thanksgiving break, which kind of, we lose a week in there, and that's a little bit frustrating.
and we're starting 2 weeks later.
And we are starting 2 weeks later, exactly, which I think will be good for all of you that are in schools right now. Before we would start our first class was the very first week of your school year, and that was challenging for a lot of people.
So we've
So,
got people with new jobs, like Kristen just got a job at the Nose.
yay!
And Melissa's
Congratulations!
changing jobs. And I think Ashley might be moving. Oh, but she's going to a fun place. She's going to my school.
I'm
yeah.
going to your school, but I do have something else going on that might mean we have to leave. I know it sounds really
It is
bad,
really
but
bad.
it's okay.
So we're celebrating new jobs, correct?
Yeah.
New teaching jobs, that's so exciting, and transfers. Very good. That's what we like to hear. Get our students out there. Technical review, don't put this in stone, but about November 7th to November 21st. And at this point in time, I always give you a heads up that our presentations, and I'll discuss this later, the defense, the 635 defense of your professional projects will be the week of December 2nd through December 6th. And we'll keep working on the schedule as the semester begins to roll out. And in fact, I have a schedule to pass out a hard copy. This changed as of 3:30 today, but still working on it for next week. Yes,
I have a
Anton.
question.
Yes.
So there's no graduation in December, right?
No.
You get to go in May,
When is the degree officially?
December.
Okay.
It is, it is. And so, and we'll give you more information about that.
Yeah.
But you
I
will,
just, for the paper to give to the human resources people, because everybody will affect their.
so you can get that big raise.
It's
But
It's some
yes.
to the registrar's office, because grades are due December 18th.
18.
And so, well, 20th for graduate it says, but undergraduate the 18th. And so they are really busy at that time of year, and everybody else is gone. So often it doesn't happen process till the first part of the spring semester. So that could be a delay. I mean, they'll let you know.
As long as it's not May, that's what I'm.
Oh, no.
No, but
No.
it's the timing of it for them is the issue.
Right.
So,
They have to confirm our audits within our department.
Right.
It goes to the registrar, and that's that final level. So they confirm that, and then we go to, whenever you see that you have passed
Okay.
635, then you can order your your transcripts, and then you can take that to your various HRs or departments.
and be sure, remember, Cheryl was talking about the audit. Remember we talked about
Yeah.
628, make sure you have gone through and looked at what are the 47 credits or 41 credits that are required for your degree, that you have those. Because if you forgot to take a course or you made a C+ and you should have repeated it and you didn't, then you won't graduate. So you have to make sure, and you're, all you have to do is get to the catalog and see what the courses are and look at your SCSIS, and it'll show you all the courses. Just, get ahead of the game, because every semester we have one or two people that are, oh my gosh, I forgot to, and it's one course, and I didn't take that technology course. It's a 1 credit course, and I have to get special approval to be able to take a course in the fall, because 635 is
Is
a course.
intense.
It's
It's
yes,
rigorous.
it's a standalone course. So
And we do not want you to get to your presentation and say, oh, I should have taken that course. That's your responsibility. But this summer, I am your graduate advisor. So if you want to make an appointment, we'll go through and we'll talk about your coursework, just to confirm. It'll make you feel better. It'll make me feel better also, because I begin to do the audits to make certain that you are good to go. And if you have to take something, this summer is a
Yeah, it's
perfect
perfect timing.
opportunity. Yeah, you do. So think about that. All righty. Again, let's get back to introducing each other. Do you want to start?
Parker.
And tell us where you're teaching again.
I am teaching 3rd grade at Hunter Lake Elementary School.
I'm Ashley, and I am teaching kindergarten in Smith Valley.
So that's the elementary school, but where is that, Ashley?
It's like right on the Wellington cutoff, well, not the Wellington cutoff, the cutoff when you go to Yarrington as you're going through Smith Valley.
I think we've seen it. Yes, we
It's
have.
the whole
It's a really nice
school, K to 12.
It is, really nice, exactly. All right.
Tyler, where are you?
Skylar Harrison, and I teach middle school math at Dilworth.
impressive.
Or I try to.
You try to, right, middle schoolers. Excellent.
Nate Greenside, I teach special education resource at Smith Ridge Elementary School.
Ashley Dodge, I teach first grade at Esther Bennett Elementary in Reno.
And you're scheduled to?
I'm scheduled to go to first grade over at
But now
Deanna
I'm
School.
worried.
At Hunter Lake?
No,
curious.
we're just waiting to hear back on some things.
Okay, got it, got it. Glad to have you, Ashley, thanks. And Melissa, is that Melissa?
Yeah, I'm Melissa. I teach at 8th grade social studies at Incline, and I'm moving to Bonn to teach art.
She got a job.
Yay.
Yay.
So I'm excited.
That's so exciting.
Still with the middle school kids, but I think I can handle them this year. Last year was fun.
But there's not that large of a population, so.
True.
True, but you
Yeah.
had to drive up the mountain in one of
Yeah,
our
it's
worst
a different
winters.
population. for sure.
Definitely, very different. Exciting for you. Thank you, congratulations.
Thank
That
you.
was the local scoop in Incline, was that Melissa got a job.
Yeah, I'm so excited. And I'll be teaching art, which is my undergrad,
So
so.
you're taking Lou's spot?
Yes, I
Ah, that's
am.
so funny.
He's going to a new school,
Yeah.
and yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah,
so,
he is awesome.
Oh, that's great.
Super thankful.
Very, very nice. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Anton, tell us what you do. People would
I'm
want
a school resource officer in South Lake for pretty much the whole district.
He has,
I'm not employed by the district, but I work with the district.
but you're employed by SLPD, right?
Right, South Lake PD, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. He's kept us entertained this semester.
Yeah.
You know, his stories are actually, we thought schools had good stories. He's got better stories, unfortunately.
Or worse, depending how you look at it.
Exactly, Anton. We're glad. You know what?
I don't get summers off either, so.
Yeah, I know. Oh, but he makes the big dollars.
Right,
Right.
yeah. You see that truck I'm driving, I'm making.
Exactly.
I'm Kristen Torvinen, and I just got a job at Minogue teaching geometry.
Yay! We have a lot of math people here. That's.
Was not intentional, but I take what I can get.
Triangles, right?
Yep, triangles and squares and shapes. Woo! Yeah, I can do shapes.
That'll be
Are you only teaching geometry?
Yeah,
or?
I'm only teaching geometry and honors geometry, which is great. But my undergrad's biology, so I've been using that for a while. So it's not completely out of my wheelhouse, but
Got it.
yeah,
How exciting, because usually at private schools you're teaching
all kinds of stuff. Yeah,
all kinds of
yeah.
subjects.
I'll have all sophomores,
Mm.
which most of them were my kids this year, so they'll probably know me.
Oh,
Yeah.
that helps.
So that worked out.
If you liked them, right.
Oh,
So-
yeah.
Exactly. Oh, congratulations, Kristen. Right.
I'm Bree Parrish. I work at Worcester High School and I teach special education, social intervention. So I got all the kids with emotional disturbances. Oh, my court involved youth. That's the.
Oh, that's what you decided with that.
That's good.
That's good.
Yeah.
That is really good.
It's ambiguous. It can mean a variety of things.
Really. Your project title is, it's really cool. It's something like, "Do you look good in orange?"
Oh, really?
Yeah, exactly.
Talk to
Kids
Anton
great
about
in
that.
orange. They do.
I work in California, there are no kid jails.
Oh, yeah. Tor, would you like to introduce yourself?
I'm Tor, and I'm up at the lake, just subbing right now.
She has a big event this summer.
We're having a baby in August.
Oh,
And we just bought a house, so we're doing all the things. Everything's happening at once, but we're gonna
Are
get
you staying away from that paint?
Yeah, I have my mask on today.
Good, good. That's good. And they just got back from?
Yeah, my sister lives over there, so.
Where?
Australia.
Oh, I thought it was New Zealand.
Yeah. So we went and visited her and her kids, so it's exciting.
Very exciting. Something to do while your proposal's in proposal review,
Yeah.
right? What else? Definitely, thank you. Simona.
I'm Sulema and I've been subbing at Kings Beach Elementary, and I just went out for today, both in second grade and Monterey.
Oh, you did?
Oh,
So you'll be a distance student.
Maybe probably drive.
Okay, think about it. Distance, to those of you that are distant, yeah.
Yeah.
4 classes, twice the tuition, yes, if you don't,
Fee, for choice of fee. not
the fee,
Yeah.
yes, exactly, tuition plus fee. Fee's almost as much as the tuition,
Is
isn't
it?
it? I
Yeah,
think.
probably.
What is it? No, yes, it's 1,300 for the fee, and then the tuition,
Yes.
so.
Of my
Only 4
driving.
classes, think about driving. Yeah, definitely. Oh, Zulema, great, and your boyfriend, he's in grad school.
Yeah, in Monterey, so that's one.
Oh, yeah,
That's great, so exciting. So you'll have 1 master's down, and you need to accomplish the second now, right?
It's a dual language school, so I'm really excited.
That's
Wow.
perfect, that is perfect, how exciting. Monterey specifically, or
Yeah,
Salinas?
it's in Monterey.
It is in Monterey, okay, great.
I'm Mariel, Alexander, sorry. I'm currently just substitute teaching with Lily Sue and Chucky, mainly for the middle school.
Yeah.
Yep, and there's quite a few positions opening up there too, so I would apply to them, so it's really nice.
And don't, you know, my first job, I was hired the day before school started, so.
Yeah.
Boulder.
We were hired, was it 5 days after school
10.
started? 10, it was 10. Time
So you
flies
never
when you're
know.
having fun, yeah. That was a lot, but we lived in LA and our jobs were in Tahoe. So,
Did you guys commute?
yeah, we did, of course.
I
Choose a
love to
driver.
drive.
Every day. Exactly. Exactly, we're excited.
I'm Amber, and I'm teaching first grade at Incline Elementary.
Will you be staying next year, Margaret? Congratulations, that's great. Good, good. We got everybody.
I think so.
Okay, delightful. Here we are, back together as a group. This will be the group for 6:35. The things that we want to talk about this evening, there will be 3 things that are of extreme importance. The first one being, you'll do a survey monkey about this class. It's very important that you complete this, and Beth and I and Jim will leave the room while you have the time to complete this online survey very quickly for about 15 minutes. Most important is we're going to talk about 635. And as we talk about 635, please remember to just stop me and interrupt me if there are any questions. This is a very brief overview, but you'll have the whole summer to maybe begin the wheels turning and maybe getting ahead, working ahead, so to speak, outlining your thoughts, your direction, your lessons, etc. And then the last thing that we will do is we will register for 635. We won't register today, but you will complete your registrations. You will give them to me. And I will explain that you will be given, you will be assigned a project director. Each of you will have a project director that you work on one-on-one. And when that is assigned, which will probably be about the middle of the summer or so, then those will be submitted as soon as possible. Registration opens June 1st, so we start working on project director assignments, and we may have to hire a couple of new ones because we have so many of you
As we do, we're going to have, remember, I think I spoke a little bit about piloting a new program, a little bit different. So the handbook will be changing somewhat. So even though the handbook's got some guidance for you this summer, just be aware of that. Don't get too far ahead of yourself. Also, if you are taking a course this summer, you won't need to complete an LOA, but if you are not taking a course this summer, we'll need you to fill out an LOA for the summer, and for your reason, you're just going to say returning in the fall. So that's what
are
you're
enrolling in 635
in the fall, right? Yes.
That's
Can we do that today with you guys?
We are.
Okay.
So that way you don't have to come back or worry about you. Everything's taken care of in the semester. What'll happen is, the only thing is we'll have the forms already and signed. We'll submit the LOA for the summer. And then for fall, if you decide something comes up and you decide that you're going to postpone until spring, you need to email Cheryl and say, don't submit my registration. And there'll be another
But
LOA.
we don't advise it. You're on
Yeah.
a roll. You've got the momentum going.
Right.
Just finish. Just finish.
And I think spring semester's more rigorous in some respects because of the web issues.
Yeah, it is, it's a challenge.
I don't know if that affects like FAFSA or anything, not taking anything during the summer.
I don't.
Not being allowed.
I don't
We're not
know.
on that
I know
side,
you have, I think
Mariel,
it's,
so-
you have to file for the fall FAFSA,
Okay.
but it's not gonna impact, the spring, I mean, summer.
Like, will I have to start paying, will I have to pay loans for the
No,
months of summer?
I think if you do the LOA,
I'm
they
still
get that
indifferent.
information. Yeah, they get that information, then you're okay.
it holds it up,
Yeah.
yeah.
Because it says on there you're returning, so you're not
Right,
just.
because think about, undergrads, they never go in the summer,
Right.
right?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
why I was
Yeah,
not
right,
right.
graduate, you don't, graduate is not a if you were a semester requirement, but it's not, so, you're good. Yeah, just the LOA will cover you. If something happens and they try to get money from you, just call me.
Right.
They've usually
Say, Beth, open your wallet.
Yeah.
What's in your wallet?
I'll just learn how to concern, and I'll work at a Tuttle one, so maybe I'll learn how to pay
Yes,
it back.
exactly. Good job, good job.
We just need the LOA because if you're ARL, you have to be continuously enrolled or we have
Oh, yeah.
approval for the semester, so. That's right.
Which some of you, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely are. Good, thank you for answering that, Beth. Okay, if you would open your syllabus, please, to page 25.
Did they get this copy?
No, we're going to do that
Should I
next. I just want to go
Well,
over
there's
them.
The one for this? Okay.
I can get out to
I'll now bring mine with me.
Take the syllabus from 6 to 8.
628, right, this semester, last class. Exactly.
Summer, I think she's going. Little bit of time.
You're also good.
Is Mike gonna be around in the fall?
I'm sorry, what?
Michael is gonna be around in the fall?
He is. He is, and we'll talk about that. Anton, remind me, okay, all right. Remind me if you have requests.
Dibs.
Dibs?
I call dibs.
Oh my gosh.
It still says provision.
I love it.
We can't promise who your project.
I can't, but I will tell you that what I try to do is, it's extremely important when you fill out your registration that you put your address on there, your complete address, not your PO box, but your complete address so that, well, your PO box, but also your address, or put it on the back, because I try to assign not just by your grade level or your major, elementary, secondary, whatever, but most importantly, I try to also assign project directors to you based on where you live, because you're going to be working with this person in a hybrid fashion, as is 635, but more importantly, you'll be meeting with each other, either at your school, at SNC, in Incline, at the Starbucks, in South Shore, whatever. Michael's always down. Some of our project directors are also student teacher supervisors, as you are very well aware, and so they may be out in your area and you can meet up then. But we'll get to that when we do the registration. Take a look. We're going to jump to 635, and this is the process for the rest of this semester. This is the last in-class, on-ground class meeting, obviously. But next week, I passed out a schedule, is the EDUC 635 presentations. And this is when our students, we have 13, 13 have passed technical review and will be presenting next week. All of the presentations are in Incline. It does say Reno on the last one. I do not want you attending that one. You may not attend that one because I'm not sure whether those students will be presenting. We're down to a crunch, quite honestly. If they are, I will send out an email and offer you that option. But at this point, you need to attend next week, Monday, Tuesday, or Thursday. And these are like mandatory class meetings. And please don't whine, because it is to your benefit to see this. Trust me. It is so important to see these presentations. And these students will be nervous, of course. This is about the biggest thing you can do right now, besides going on for your doctoral studies. But as they present and defend, you will see the process, and that is so beneficial to you when you get there that first week in December. And it is part of your required class meetings. So pick a date that is convenient for you. Some of them start a bit early, like at 4 o'clock. And those of you that are living down here in Reno may not be able to make it by 4, but at least get there for 3 is desirable, 2 maybe. If you can't do any better than 2, then get there for 2. But 4, I mean, it's good to see a variety of presentations, a variety of projects, a variety of topics. So pick one of those 3 dates next week for you to attend as an audience member. Alrighty? So that is the 5-6 on your syllabus. It says no class meeting. The electronic submission of your corrected proposal is due to your instructor for instructor review. The instructor will confirm that the proposal has been accurately corrected per the proposal review. So between now and next week, you just have a very small window. You need to review your proposal review, and you need to correct it per the corrections from the editors. Don't blow it off, because if Beth and I open up and we see that the first edit is not corrected, we'll send it back. This could cause you to fail this class, and that would be ridiculous because you've come this far. So please make every correction. If you have a question, truly, if you have a disagreement and we may agree with you, then please shoot us an email or give us a call and let's talk about it, most definitely. So you send it back electronically to us by next May 6th, by Monday. And then, which is very, very quick, and then by the 9th, this final corrected proposal is due, and it is due to your instructor, to me, your instructor, to both of us, and to Dr. Varner. And I will send out an email for all the addresses, but you will send it to Beth, to Cheryl, and to Dr. Varner. And we will check to be certain that it has been corrected properly, per the corrections from May 6th. So we have a very short window, but I'm proud to say there's not much for you to correct.
Yeah, there's not. And there's going to be things, for example, if you put yours as a guide, a resource book, and the editor said, recommended you change it to a resource guide. That's not a requirement. So those are the kind of things that you have some latitude. But if it's a grammatical or a spelling or an APA error, you'll need to correct it.
That's a must, yeah.
Yes, Melissa.
This might sound funny, but can I change the title of mine?
Yes, and
Okay,
that's a good question.
out, and then I was looking at it, and I'm like, I kind of want it to be creative.
Well, wait a minute.
And we've talked about
Now,
that.
remember your title in 638 is going to be a very technical, professional title, and then when you get to 635, that's when you're going to change it from, the course and involved trauma to do you look good in orange. So,
Right. Okay, cool. I just wanted to make sure.
Right,
Cool.
exactly.
Okay.
But there are certain aspects, the grade level, the content area, and the format, basically. Instructional guide, grade level, and is it science, math, social studies, whatever. And so you can play with that. But this document is not allowed to be changed much when you get into 635. And if you have some changes, your project director will come to me and we'll discuss it. Any other questions? Okay, so I'll see all of you at some point next week in Incline. It's been beautiful, but Tiana and also Jim reminded me, for those of you that are driving up Highway 28, if you're coming from 28, it's construction. It is, as Jim always calls it, daylight pavings time. And
It closes at 8 p.m. too.
exactly,
So
but
like 6 a.m. or something?
it's 8 p.m. a couple of nights, and I think, Jim, it was May
I'll
7th.
look and see if I can find
Thank
out,
you.
but I don't think,
I think it's one.
the last night's tonight, and then I think it's not until the following weekend, but
Yes.
let me see if I can find out.
But it closes at 8 o'clock at night, Highway 28, if you're going south. It is closed at 8 o'clock at night and it opens at 6:30 in the morning, which makes no difference to us, but you'll be out of there way before 8 o'clock and rolling through it. Coming up Mount Rose, there's a lot of potholes, but fortunately no snow and no ice. So, but always leave extra time, because sometimes I'm ripping down the mountain to get to class and, oh no, they're cleaning out the ditches or they're cleaning one roadway. So you never know. Give yourself a little bit of extra time. It's the summer, so they're doing construction. Most definitely you can count on construction on Highway 28 and also Highway 50, actually, as you're coming up. They're on both sides, coming up and going back. Reduced to one lane, they're putting in some water pipes or something, so there are some delays there also. Yes. The answer is?
Overnight full road closures of State Route 28 south of Incline Village are tentatively scheduled for April 29th to May 1st,
Okay.
May 6th and 7th,
The 6th and 7th.
and May 14th and 15th, from 8 p.m. to 6:30.
8 p.m. to 6:30, so we're only affected by the May 6th and the May 7th. The May 6th, actually. No, the 7th also, so,
Not really, because it's over at 6, so.
yeah, we're good, yeah.
Yeah, it closes at 8, so you guys should be good.
Exactly, exactly. So you as the audience will be gone. The students may have to linger a bit, but you'll be able to leave. Okay, all righty. Do you understand the process for the next week? It's a short window, but fortunately, we're very blessed. We're very proud of you that there's not that many corrections to be made. Okay, all right, any questions? All righty, I'm going to lift the screen, and we've got Survey Monkey for you. Beth and I and Jim need to step out of the classroom. I also have, it's written on the board for you, but I also have your, a hard copy for you. There we go. A hard copy for you. The first listing is for Watson, and the second is for Bouchard. Make certain you are logging in to the correct link for the class. Oh, sorry, Nate. I know. There you go. All righty. There it is. Do you need the lights on, or what? What are you thinking? What's everyone thinking? You're okay? All righty. We will give you just a few minutes. If one of you would step out and say that everyone's pretty much done, we would appreciate that. And we'll get going on 6:35 overview. Thank you. Your second page, under your professional questions, you'll see all these numbers. That is just the editors counting, which Beth and I did when we reviewed your projects before they went to proposal review. They're just counting to be certain that you have included every author. So don't be concerned about that. All righty. Okay, last thing is going to be a discussion of 6:35. And as you'll see, it says, welcome to 635, 635D, and 699P. 635 is the first course, that is actually the last course where you write your professional project. And you take it the first semester after 628. The D is for distance, for our distance folks at home. And the P, 699P, is a continuation. It is project, it's called project completion. So it's just a continuation of 635. It's basically giving you an opportunity to finish your project. Please know, you're all young in your careers, you're beginning, as you begin your careers, you're beginning your lives, possibly thinking of a family. Your families are maybe young at this point, or a little bit more mature and as teenagers and requiring a little bit more attention. And so we get that. We understand that. This course is intense, it's rigorous, more intense, more rigorous than 628 because now you are writing a professional project. Here are a few examples that we have. And this is what you will be completing. So, life happens, things come up, and 699 is an option to continue the next semester. So, it is not a sign of failure, it's just the fact that life happens, and sometimes you need a little bit more time to complete. So that's your option.
Is that 3 credits?
It is. The bad news is more money. Exactly. We really encourage you and to finish, but that's why this week has been absolutely insane for me, trying to literally drag some of these students across the finish line. Don't wait until the fall, because now they have to continue in the fall. And that is not ideal in terms of a financial situation, but also just the time. So, the course description. I am going to go over this. Oh. It's cutting off the top.
Maybe you just push Command minus.
Command minus?
Yeah,
Okay.
to zoom out.
All right. Like enter?
No, what is it on the PC?
It's
Control.
Control. That's what I thought. Control. What did you say?
Minus button.
A minus button.
Or like
It's up by zero.
dash.
I don't have number. Oh, see, wait. Okay, like that.
Or it's fine. I can see push. It just takes the.
See, it says course description.
we can see it.
Right. I'm going to send this to you after class so that you will have this to reference. I'm not going to read all of it, but it's basically the fact that you will complete a professional project with the assistance of an assigned project director, one-on-one. And your project directors, in most cases, have 2 students. I usually only allow them to have 2 students at a time because of the intensity of the work. At the end of each semester, they will present before a professional project panel, which is what you will see next week. Then, here are the requirements in order to continue. You have excitedly finished your obviously student teaching or your ARL, you are involved in that. You've completed your MAT testing requirements, and you have now passed 628. If you get your project completed in the next week, most definitely. Okay. Tor, come up here. Please, what am I doing wrong? This is really odd that it's not showing. Okay, here's control. That's what I'm trying. So cute. I know.
I don't think it will with its.
You can't because it's on slideshow mode.
Yeah, and I'm wondering if I escape it out of,
I mean, then you can go like.
I can get rid of this.
We can read it.
Okay, good. So get rid of this, yeah.
You should be able to just click on this. Like where you just do the.
Still, it's up there, that's the problem, is it's up there.
We can see it though.
You can read
You
it.
can see, we can.
Yeah.
okay.
They're gonna
Make it all
move.
day.
All
There's
right.
the Zoom.
We're
but-
moving.
I mean, I don't know.
You're not
And
going to-
I've done
It's
that
just a toggle.
before. Actually,
I can do it.
I know,
Oh.
didn't you and Anton, I think, get up
Anton
and?
saved the day.
Yeah, he did.
No, I didn't.
Yes,
I
you
don't
did.
know
You
from
crawled up.
technology.
No, but you crawled up and you moved it a bit, and it helped. Anyway, this is the professional project overview. You are going to focus on specific teaching fields as outlined in your 628 proposal. You'll provide answers to specific professional questions. Then it'll reflect the current research, which you've completed. And the bottom line, this is going to be a little bit more interesting, creative, and hopefully more enjoyable for you, because your creativity is now, obviously this is a primary project, but your creativity is now going to come through not only on the computer with technology, but also with some of the creative handouts and the delivery of instruction that's embedded within your lessons. You'll enjoy that. So you're creating lesson plans and a unit, which Beth will speak to in just a moment. But this is a lot more fun. There is a little bit of APA, but not as much. It's definitely more enjoyable.
I see bottom right, you could see how there's the My List button.
Oh, that one. Oh,
Just
yes.
click it once or twice.
Yeah, and see, maybe it's too,
And then now scroll up.
there we go. Well, it's kind of small.
If you want it, you can just scroll, so like the
Perfect.
view, but this works great.
Is it good enough?
Yeah.
Okay, anyway, it's good enough, let's roll. Okay, okay, now it won't.
You have to click out of it. 'Cause now just click on the slide. And, well, on the gray part, yeah.
That's weird.
And then,
There we go,
Yeah.
thank you. See, together we're better. We are, definitely, don't forget that at your school. The final product you will create, which you will see next week. The students will create a binder, of which you will have professionally printed, and you will also create an electronic poster, which is one PowerPoint slide or keynote slide that will be electronically projected behind you as you present. Then you'll have 2 copies of the binder and 4 color copies of the electronic poster. Then communicating, and I will allow you to read this at your leisure, but this is basically about working with your project director. It's a very professional relationship, and it is a roller coaster. It is a little bit stressful, and your project director is there to guide you in that they are going to give you suggestions. They are not going to write it for you. Most definitely. But as an experienced educator, our project directors come to us from all different levels and backgrounds, and they can then kind of give you suggestions and kind of guide you. And the most important thing is, as many of you are new in your careers in the teaching field, you often need that background knowledge that our project directors can bring to the plate for you. So, the communication, professional relationship is extremely important. And whether you're an on-ground or distant student, again, it's imperative that you use SNC to email and communicate regularly with your project director. You'll get their text number, their cell phone number, obviously. Here's what happened this afternoon. As Jim is driving us down the mountain, one of our 635 students is panicked because she has not heard from me to get poster approval, because I review the posters and I approve them to get them professionally printed. She sent it via her personal email. I never got it. I never saw it. She's presenting on Monday. She needs to get it printed tomorrow. Last chance. So, hopefully. But I haven't seen it yet. So when I get home tonight, I need to review her poster anyway. So obviously she's panicked. I'm a little bit panicked. Jim's trying to drive well, carefully and quietly, and saying nothing as I'm going, oh my gosh. Anyway, these are the outcome of not using our SNC email. Then you'll communicate and you will meet with your project director at least once a week in person. Of course, it will be hybrid and you'll work electronically. You'll call, you'll text, and obviously email, but you'll need to sit down side by side and work together. And it's so much easier just to open up your laptop and make these corrections on the spot. Anyway, then it's always important to plan for the last one state's turnaround time. Again, had the student sent me the poster at the beginning of the week, we wouldn't be panicking right now. But just a good illustration. Your writing, it's extremely important as you have written your proposal that you use graduate level writing. But again, you're creating a lesson plan. You're creating delivery of instruction to students. Therefore, don't just tell me what to do, teach it. And what I mean by that is don't say, have the students do worksheet number 1, and have them do worksheet number 2, and now sit down and do worksheet number 3, and you walk around the room and check and see if they did worksheet number 3. That is not the goal. This is active student engagement. We want to see the level of learning elevated with critical thinking and active student engagement. Editing, you can read this, we'll go over it as class begins in 6:35 again, but we want you to go through different levels of editing so that when it gets to the project director, they are not spending so much time rewording, adding commas. That's not their job, most definitely. So there are 3 basically phrases and sections to a professional project. And we divided them, our apologies to any vegetarians, but we've divided them into like a full course meal. And this was Beth's brilliant idea, and I love it.
I must have been
'Cause she's
starving.
I know, and we decided this, she probably was, because she usually is. I know. So there is sections, and we call it, the first section is the appetizer, that is void of teaching at this point. It's the title page. So, over the summer, start thinking about your graphics, your format, what the colors that you want to use. That is kind of the creative fun part for you. Then the signature page, and you will see that the signature page is then the professional project panel as they sign off, meaning that you have passed your defense. Then the table of contents, obviously, that goes without needing any explanation. And then the abstract and the rationale. The rationale, you copy and paste from your proposal. That's all it is. You just copy and paste it into the front of your project.
Now, the new revised 635 is going to take your research a little bit step further, and you'll find out about that in the fall.
Here's the rationale. It's just copy and paste. The abstract is a very short paragraph. As you are very familiar, the abstract is what you read in your articles that you requested from the library to see if this article is applicable to your topic, to your project. And so it is some specific wording that's taken from the rationale, from your research to discuss your topic. Then a note to teachers, background information. Everything is included in this in a letter, so to speak, to the reader. And the reader is a teacher, obviously. And so that is our audience for the 635. So this is the beginning. This is due the second week of class. So that will be on 9/16, I believe I said. And, did I say 9/16? I believe I did, yes I did. And these are very simple, but for the first 2 weeks, these will be due.
I think it's 18.
18, thank you. Thank you, thank you. If it's a Wednesday, then it's the 18th.
Yeah.
Thank you. All righty. The main course, here's Beth's input. But basically, the activities and the strategies, the unit that you will create for 635 is going to be, this is the meat of your project. And so, are you getting glare off the sun, Jim? I'm seeing everyone kind of squinting. For example, these are the lessons, the activities, the strategies that will be delivered to the students. And that's the meat of it. That's the core of your project. Then, optional, after following the activities or strategy section, is a vocabulary page. For example, if you are a science person and your project is science related, some of the science vocabulary is rather technical. And so you might want to include a vocabulary page of all of the vocabulary for the reader's reference, or the vocabulary could go in the lesson. A lot of students do put the vocabulary to front load it for the reader to be delivered or instructed to the students. So the last thing is a standards matrix. And let me see if I can find, really quickly pull it up. Standards matrix is basically just a graph of all the standards that you've used. Again, this project will be standards aligned, yeah. And every lesson will have a standard that is applicable to your lesson, be it a California standard or a Nevada standard. Then that concludes kind of the meat of the project, the bulk of your professional project. And then dessert. If you've ever gone out to dinner with Beth, she orders her dessert first. She's worse than a kid. She eats her dessert first. I kid you not. Can I have my chocolate cake first? And the waiter.
You won't eat it otherwise, right?
Right.
It's too full.
It's a good strategy. It's a really good strategy. So, yes, right. It's wonderful. She eats her dinner too, but not always. Actually not always, now that I think about it. At the end, this is the dessert. This is the finishing part of the professional project, resources and references. And this is where, if you've used any YouTube videos, if you used any children's literature, any kind of manipulatives in your project, hands-on manipulatives, then they would be included in the resources. References might be if you had, our favorite is Fred Jones, or our favorite is Fountas and Pinnell, for example. So you've got some excellent teacher resources that you really, really abide by, and you might want to include those into your project as a reference for the reader, for the teacher who is delivering the instruction. Then an annotated bibliography. Notice what it says. Cut and paste from your proposal. So, it has to be perfect. When you perfect it by May 9th, then this is the copy that you will then copy and paste into the annotated bibliography of your project. And I'm pulling it. It's the one section, this is a science project, and here are each of your 12 annotations, copied and pasted. So the most important thing I will tell you now, once you correct your proposal and you send it to us, because we put it in the SNC repository, it needs to stay there. And we do often refer back to it. Last night I was doing it constantly as I was correcting student projects, making certain that their proposal annotations were correctly corrected and included into the project appropriately. So that's a given, and that's the easy part. That's the end of it. Then, very quickly, here are the components Again, it's basically what I just laid out for you. It is on, currently, in the spring handbook, it's on page 29 and page 30, the components that are required. This will change slightly for the fall, and it's going to change for the better. It truly is. I think you will be pleased with that. But the signature page, that's the page that I showed you that the panel will be signing once the student has passed the defense next week. The abstract, this is how to write the abstract. This will be a reference page for you when you are in 635. Here are the required lesson components. Here's the presentation. This is what we went over in our last 635 class with our students to work with them, to prepare them, to kind of train them to present or defend their project before the panel of faculty members. And, okay, wait a minute. Oh, I didn't plug in my speakers, but that will be you, yay! So thank you, Dr. Seuss. Today is your day. Your mountain is waiting, so get on your way. And you will be completed in the first week of December. You will finish the program and you will graduate. Hopefully you'll walk. We're really excited because in a couple of weeks we'll have our students walking from the fall semester of 18 and this spring semester. You do have to wait a while, but you'll be ready for it. Beth, is there anything you'd like to mention?
What we've decided, faculty sort of brainstormed about how to make 635 a little bit more meaningful for you because of the fact that now that we have a lot of ARL students coming through and you're getting into the classroom a lot sooner, and you have a lot of prescribed pacing guides, curriculum that's already been determined for you. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a project that you have a mini unit. So we'll have like 4 to 6 lessons within that mini unit. You'll choose a unit that would fit within the context of what your project is. And within that, in the past, you've had to create your lessons based on what research you've done and what information you have in your own creativity. What we're going to move to is that you can take something that's already created for you that you have to teach, because we want you to take something that you are going to need to teach in the classroom and be able to modify it to meet your needs. So you know how right now if you're teaching a lesson that's from a prescribed curriculum, and you see the lesson and you're like, gosh, I'm going to add this to it, right? Or I'm going to change it from using these manipulatives to something different. However you want to do that, make it more meaningful. That's the creative piece that you'll change that lesson. So if you happen to have a curricular guide that you're going to be pulling from because you're forced to use it and you know that you want to make it better, you just have to make sure that you use that resource and make sure that it's noted on that either project you're doing or the lesson that they're doing. And your project director will want to see that, like you'll bring in the handbook or the curriculum guide or print it off, and then you'll show them where you deviated from it, where you added something to it, or you enriched it in some fashion. The other piece that's going to be, so that's a little more meaningful for you to help you with whatever it is you're doing in your classroom, so that you're not creating something that's completely brand new while you're teaching something else and you're like, oh man, I wish I could be working on this curriculum that I've got to make it better versus creating something brand new right now. The other piece of it is there are a lot of initiatives in your schools, whether it's SEL or PBIS. Trying to think of some of the other ones that are going on. Well, you know what they are, and there's going to be more. There's always new ones. So what we want is to see how you take that information, an initiative in your school, and integrate that into your project. So in that respect, you're kind of killing 2 birds with 1 stone. You're actually able to
SPED, PBIS, SEL, SEAD, RTI, ELAD, education has the most acronyms
I know.
anyway. Multicultural district and Nevada DOE-driven interventions or initiatives.
Right, you know that there's huge movement now with the multicultural piece that if it's not integrated, people, you know, some people are very upset and think the DOE is not watching for that. And it's a requirement now to renew your license. The first time you renew your license, you have to have a multicultural course that you took after you received your license. So that's something that, you know, you might want to look at is integrating into your unit. But you want it to be something that's meaningful. So, you know, if you've got a principal that's got some really strong initiative they're pushing, you know, whether it's reading informational text, whatever it is, you're going to want to make sure that you add that component so that you're actually helping yourself throughout the school year. That's the main piece of it, so that it's something really that you can take into the classroom and use. So we think it's going to be actually a lot more, it's going to be easier for you to create this because you're going to have a foundation to start from. And the other piece of it is we have so many students that don't have a lot of experience, and you know, you can be a first-year teacher and go gangbusters, and you could have taught 20 years and still be struggling. But I'm telling you, because it does take a good 5 years, at least I thought it did before I look back and went to go apologize to every student I taught to from years 1 through 4. So it takes a while to kind of understand, you know, everything that you're doing, and so we're hoping that this will help you right away from the get-go.
And that's why we bring in a professional educator as a project director to kind of help bring their experience to the plate to enrich you and to enrich your project.
And as a veteran teacher, I can say that is brilliant. Because I was stressing about that, thinking, okay, we have a new math curriculum, and
there you go.
Well, I'm not going to have to reinvent.
Now,
I'm still learning our new math curriculum. I'm going to have to reinvent the wheel. So
no, you're not.
That's
You're going to
brilliant.
get to use that.
Mhm.
Well, I'm glad you like it.
Yeah.
I should have told you that before you did my evaluation. But the other piece of it is, I want to say your project director is not your editor. We really need you to know that they're there to be able, what they'll say is, oh my gosh, you know, why don't you add a KWL chart here? Or have you thought about using pizza boxes for this project or something? Just bizarre things that you're like, wow, what a great idea. Things that you may not have thought about. And those are the aspects of what they'll bring, that experience. They're going to see you misspelled words and that you did this and whatever, this is out of order, and they'll point out some of that. But really, we want them to focus on making sure that experience piece that they got, they can share that with you and say, okay, in my experience, doing water balloons in a classroom doesn't work, okay? So those type of things. So they will, you know, because believe me, you'll be surprised at some of the things that, that we've seen.
Candles,
aromatherapy. I've told them all no. Yoga,
Yoga.
increased reading scores, which who knows. But anyway, but I love that you said that because I think, Dan, that's exactly what we want to see is that you're going to, especially if you're starting a new job. I mean, think about it, Melissa, you're going to be like looking at this art stuff going, okay, what am I going to do? Now you know, not only can you create something that you've got in your content with your standards, it'll work for this too. It'll help. Cool. So. And listen, as a former principal, and I'm sure Jim and Cheryl would back me on this, that if you go in and share with your administrator what you're doing, I'm doing this professional project, and it's a thesis that's going to have this research base, it's based on scholarly research, and I'm going to integrate the initiative that we're doing on blah blah blah. They're gonna be this to you. They're gonna be like, oh my gosh, please, because. As an administrator, I was always looking for teachers that were teacher leaders, and that's what you are. You've moved into the teacher leadership.
And
Yeah.
Beth, may I say?
Yes.
I got a text this afternoon from, do any of you know Alyssa Bianchi? Mm-hmm. Well, Alyssa will be presenting next week, and she said, just had to tell you, Cheryl, my admin principal did a random observation today, and I was doing one of my lessons from my project. They loved it. It made me think, anyway, made me think of you. Anyway,
yeah,
you're doing great.
And it's, I mean, honestly, these are the kind of things that I hope, you know, we've had
I
a
wanna hear
couple,
that, yeah.
we've had a couple, we do, and we've had students that ended up, like, you know, I think I shared with you, with my group, how we had a student whose project, she found out, she got a phone call because it made its way to North Carolina, and a school district had implemented her project. Now, she was a little upset because that's intellectual property, and she's like, where's my money? So, you know, I'm right behind you, I'll write you a letter. So, you know, ideally, that's why I love the idea that you want to come up with a creative name, because you do want your proposal name on that document, you know, that gives it that validity of you being that research scholar. But, you know, having a creative title too, that when someone sees it, they're going to grab it, right? I now do not use that. Do you look good in orange? That would be embarrassing. But I would be more apt to
cite it and say from Beth Bouchard.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. Retrieve from Beth Bouchard.
Or it should probably be nobody looks good in orange or something.
Right. Does it make my, you know.
Yeah. Really. So think about that too, because you want something that is really attractive, and you've seen these, and we've got them here, and you're more than welcome to stop by and see them, and get ideas.
And you'll see them next week, which is kind of
And I
exciting.
think when they're online, do they show the cover and everything?
Oh, the complete, exactly.
Okay, we're going to have more online.
More online, correct.
We're dealing with
IT.
bandwidth.
And,
Yeah,
oh,
they're like ours. They're like, can you make these projects smaller? And we've gone down to as small as we think we can get it.
150 pages is your max. And truly, you will be coming to us and saying,
So,
I need to
just
shorten
questions.
it.
Yeah,
I
I
need
have
to
a
shorten it.
Yeah.
Like, do we, I'm curious as to if we could find out what these
And
projects are. Maybe we want to, maybe because
Oh, I
mine's
see.
math, maybe I want to go,
See a math person.
I'd rather go.
And I started that.
Okay.
Yes, Tiana, I will get that. I'll send it out to all of you so you can see
What the topic is.
what the titles are. I started it, I didn't get it done. So, Melissa.
Well, we've been getting like the syllabus like right when, like the day or weekend before class starts, or could we get it a little
I
bit?
usually try to get it out 2 or 3 weeks before.
Okay.
I do my best.
We've got it, we're working,
Am I
we're
ready,
working on
like-
it this summer.
Yeah,
This
it's gonna
one,
be.
I just want to like keep.
Yeah.
But do
Thinking
know
about it.
that your 2 handbooks, texts for this class, will be the fall 19. So you'll want to get rid of this, even though for most semesters it just changes ever so slightly. This one will probably change more dramatically. So you'll want to recycle this and your BFF. You'll still need this. Not as much, but you'll still need this, the APA manual.
And the course is set up, it's paced. So your project director
Yes.
is the first 2 weeks when you don't come in with all of that. And you
The
can
first
try
part, the
you know,
appetizer.
it was the beginning, and I promise I'll have it to you by tomorrow, whatever. That day, they're calling up Cheryl going, hey, you know, Beth Bouchard, let me tell you, right away she didn't turn it on. And Cheryl's like, okay, keep me posted. Because if you get behind, it's way more than the 628 getting behind. Trust me, way more. You can't make it.
You can't.
So,
And we will advise you.
and we're totally, we don't want you to do that, but that's why 629 is here, and we like 2 people that didn't make it this semester, and a third is going to 699 as well. So it helps, you know, we'd much rather you make that decision than us say, guess what, we think you're gonna have to do this another semester. You'll know if you're, depends on your year, you know, and it depends on what's going on in your personal life. Hopefully everything will go great, and, you know, no one's gonna have sex or get married anymore, and. Whoops. Obviously. That's right. I know you weren't my I passed out comments everybody. So anyway, but, you know, we want you to be successful, because it's such, you'll be so proud of this. You will have no idea how wonderful it feels. And I'm just saying, as an administrator, when someone came in to interview, and you know, I told my group, always, I don't care if you have a job and you love it, just keep looking and interviewing, because you never know. There's just so many opportunities, and you could get into something that's really exciting. But maybe not, I don't know, but you're still going to learn. But when someone came in and I would hear, do you want me to drop my portfolio off? I'd say, sure, you can drop your portfolio off, that's great. But when this was dropped off, this trumped, no offense to Trump, but this trumped a portfolio huge. because this to me this said everything I needed to know that was in that portfolio and a million times more about who you are.
And how you teach.
Yeah, and so, it's impressive, and so that's why we get phone calls all the time from people saying, how can we get, your students, how can we get
Well,
your
Jim,
students?
how many SNC students did you hire in LTUSD
Over the years,
over the years?
gosh, lots.
Lots.
Because especially during the era when we started class size reduction, that was in the early 90s. The program was really big, and people were local, and that was really helpful. Yeah, but the
level.
I didn't have a teacher that I hired that came out of SNC that wasn't worth their weight in
I know. I mean,
gold.
we're
It was really
And
impressive.
many of them are still there.
Yeah.
They truly are.
Really, thank
Exemplary
you,
teachers.
because it's so awesome that we have the best of the best. It's like, I've taught 5 different colleges, and the reputation of this one for teaching is the best.
And I must say, we're tooting our own horn. There is no other. There is no other college that provides the support, the one-on-one mentorship as you write your professional project.
So, Melissa, what you were asking about, when will you get a syllabus and stuff, you can go ahead, that first part, like Cheryl said, is
Yeah,
all
you
gonna
get that
be pretty much
started.
the same.
Okay.
There is, we're gonna add the note to teacher piece, where you're gonna, talk, and we're gonna send you some examples as well of some interesting ones. But also, there's gonna be a little piece for you to talk about personally what you got from that research, what you read and what you learned from that research, because the rationale is very technical and it's a professionally written document, right? So we want to add a piece where you explain about how that research impacted you, because that's the piece that's the passionate part that will sell people on your project as far as.
And your rationale is in third person, but then your note to teachers, your background information, whatever you choose to call it, we'll work with you on that. That's in first person, where you're literally talking to your reader, your audience.
Right.
Yes. If we get started on that and we use illustrations or pictures from the internet, do we have to?
Yes, so that's where we get very technical, and that's one of the classes that we talk about, how to cite online images. So anything that is from clip art, anything that is public domain, you do not have to cite. But if you've purchased something, like some of our students have purchased fonts or borders, that's your decision. You've made the purchase. You don't have to cite those either, per the professional editors. But anything that sometimes on Google, sometimes it's public domain and sometimes it's not, and you have to cite it. So there will be 2 examples of your images or graphics that you may insert into your project. And one might be that you retrieved it from, you directly copied and pasted it. It was a Venn diagram, it was a graph, it was terrific. So you can't improve it any more than it already is, so you just copied and pasted it. That's retrieved from. Adapted from is you took a graph and maybe you changed the text to be applicable to your specific lesson, your grade level, etc. So retrieve from, copy and paste. Adapted is you took the outline, the Venn diagram, and filled in.
Yeah, changed it a little bit.
And we get into that because it's extremely important. Our goal is for you to get these published someday. That's our goal, and it has happened. And many of the science ones have been presented at science conferences.
Conferences.
It's so exciting, it's so exciting. So if you do get it published, then you have to legally have accuracy.
Yeah,
in
and you
your-
can present at a conference without it being professionally published.
Exactly.
Just this. But the other piece is you'll see sometimes actually it will say permission must be granted to use this document or whatever. And so you have to be careful of that.
And the APA manual, which I know you've read thoroughly, mentions that in here.
Yeah, that's right.
Exactly. Exactly.
Any other questions?
So you gave us some due dates for the note to teachers and intro and rationale. Is everything else kind of
It'll be very prescriptive. It'll say next week you need to have 2 lessons done or whatever. Perfect.
And so basically, that second week, you'll have that first part, all the appetizers is due in 2 weeks. But it's simple. And then the next part, the next class meeting, the third class meeting will be like a third is done or a quarter is done. And then the next week, we'll say half should be done, 50%, 75%. And then the last class meeting, 100% of your project is done.
And then the graphics and everything as we go, like, so
And
we start from the get-go with all that business.
And that is so important. Thank you for bringing it up. It's extremely important. You spend the summer playing around with your colors, your graphics, your images, your style, your borders, your fonts. Because if you walk into 6:35 on that first class meeting and you're still kind of, I'm not sure how I'm gonna format this. If you have your format ready to go, you're there. You are, here's some shapes for you, Kristen, if you want. Aren't these nice shapes? Right? Take them to Minot. Anyway, I just opened these, how about that? But seriously, it's the fun part, is to start playing around with it this summer, when you have a bit of free time. Yeah.
The other thing is this, I'm also on this a second. Is your personal style.
Yes.
So, you know, there are elementary teachers who, let's show one, okay, totally. High school, we've had high school people that, I'm middle school, Cheryl's elementary, and we would be like, can you just put a border? And they're like, no borders, no borders, I don't do graphics, I just text, right? And we would be like crying. And so, but that's your style. So you want to make sure it's something that fits you and also your topic, right? So, depending
Polka
on
dots, maybe geometry, I mean, I don't know.
high school, I don't know.
Yeah, but seriously, part of this project is the visual appeal of your project. And that's extremely
These are all middle,
important.
that's middle.
So some of, this is middle too, I think, isn't that interesting? Is it middle? Yeah. Oh, high school.
Oh, this is a high school STEM. It's electrical wires.
But it's important to think about your specific style. And is it classic? Is it polka dots? That's really important. I'm doing a kindergarten project this semester with one of my students, and she's got color everywhere. She's kindergarten. It's wonderful. It's delightful. And when you go to the professional printer, Paulette, at Rick's Printing, you can go wherever you want, but we get a really good deal at a printer here in Reno.
How much about does it cost to do that?
I have the bill. It's like $40. So you're going to be into this for about $80. And each one is 30 to 40, depending on all the color that you use. You're paying for color, so use it. And then each of these posters, they charge us $1 for each of these posters. You need 4 of them. So they give us an incredible deal versus Staples, Home Depot, or Home, what's that called? Office Depot. Thank you.
And you know, what's your own style, but we'll be honest with you. I mean, we're not going to try and convince you to put polka dots, but we will say, we've seen some that the colors didn't, you know, it's like, I didn't know if the person was colorblind maybe. So, but it was like, I wasn't working with it, but I just happened to see it, and I was like, that will not go over too well by panel. And you know how sometimes it's just, you can just get a feel for that. So, but I wasn't going to say that until I talked to different people, you know, to make sure that it was like, ew, that kind of looks like throw up, but that's okay if you want it to look that way. We're just saying that the panel usually will want something that's a little bit more aesthetically pleasing. Visually appealing. That's one of, you'll see the criteria, that's one of them. But, you know, it doesn't necessarily have to be the style that you like, so you pick out however your style is. You may have borders, you may not have borders. Whatever. Well, that's your question.
But we don't want you just to open up Word and start typing in Times New Roman. How boring.
Yeah, just think about if you would want to buy it. If you want something that you would pick up and go, yeah, this sounds pretty cool STEM for young women. I love these wires, whatever. What is it?
I have 2 questions. One is, from my understanding, we're creating our own lesson plan template.
kind of, no. We would like you to use a template that either your administrator would like you to use, or your school uses, or the district uses.
Okay.
If that's not the case, then we will defer to the S&C.
And I can
Any
like
PF.
move it around how.
Yeah.
There are,
Right.
and there will be it will be discussed in our very first class, but in the handbook, there are some lesson components that are required. You have to have standards in there, you have to have an objective. You have-
And materials.
And your materials.
How long is the lesson gonna last, if it's a 2 or 3 day project. But also, it doesn't have to be like, this has to be first, then this. You can mix it, it can be your, how you want to take it. Yeah, all right.
And then another question was, like, as far as lesson planning goes, I've been told so many times it's hard to reinvent the wheel. So like, if I have two things that have been taught together before that way, like, should I stay completely away from
No, that's
that?
that's what I'm saying. That's what we want you to do, is to pick something that you've been doing, and then maybe try and find a way to make it a little better. So
Okay.
every time you teach, I don't know about you, but every time I taught, I would like something, especially if I did teach the same class, like 3 sections of it.
I
By
do
the
that.
3rd section, I'd be like, God, I wish I had taught it this way the first section,
Yeah, I do that.
So you'll do that. You'll just tweak it a little bit.
Okay.
Except we don't want you to literally regurgitate
Right.
what you had just done. This is a creative application of your research. So we want you to bring that to the plate, hence the project director to give you some background to help you be more creative in that. Good
Other
questions.
questions? If anyone has a question about their
Proposal.
proposal, stay and.
Yeah, Tahoe people, we can go into room 3 if you want, and if you have any questions about your proposal, okay? Okay, yeah, what's your question?